All right, good morning. I think we're looking, we need a couple more folks for quorum, but I know I spoke with Angela, or texted with Angela this morning. She should be on with us shortly.
Should be in there.
Can we move over Councilmember Chavez, who's on the attendee side, who is our Soledad rep? All right, let's give it one more minute and see if Gonzalez joins us, but I think we've got everyone else. Okay, so we're sitting at 9:04. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm going to go ahead and call us to order. This is a meeting, a special meeting of the South Salinas Valley Broadband Authority. And as I call us to order, I'm going to see if perhaps Mayor Labar doesn't mind leading us in the pledge.
Thank you, Chair. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's go ahead and ask for a roll call.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Board Chair Supervisor Chris Lopez, County of Monterey.
Present.
Board Member, Council Member Angela Antalan, City of Greenfield.
Here.
Board Member, Council Member Alejandro Chavez, City of Soledad.
Present.
Board Member Mayor Jose Rios. Vice Chair Mayor Mike LeBaer.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a quorum. So the first item on our agenda is a public comment, which is an opportunity for the public to share comments regarding items not on today's agenda, but within the purview of this particular body. We ask folks to use the raise hand function or *9 in order to be recognized. We'll go ahead and allow 3 minutes per speaker. I do see Melanie Beretti has her hand up, so we'll go ahead and give her the ability to unmute herself and share her public comment. Morning, Melanie.
Hi. Good morning, Chair and Board. I am just here. I wanted to, I'm Melanie Beretti, Principal Planner with the County of Monterey Housing Community Development Department, overseeing our advanced planning team. I wanted to just take an opportunity to let this body know of some general plan element updates that the county is undertaking that we think may have some nexus with your authority, and we'd like to get any kind of input and or offer the opportunity to just help get folks signed up to be a part of the conversation. We are in the process of updating our housing element 6th cycle update. We're well underway on that process. We've just are wrapping up a community survey. We're going to be going into a second community meeting in the coming month, as well as working towards having a draft housing element in springtime. That'll be moving forward that we wanted to inform this group of. We are also in the process in tandem with the housing element of updating our countywide safety element. That safety element, along with developing a new environmental justice element as a part of our general plan updates, the outreach, community outreach and survey and work is really going to be getting underway in the coming month to 2. And so I wanted to get this on your group's radar and let you know ways in which you or others who have interest and in particular can help us connect and engage as it relates to the conversation around broadband and accessibility in these related realms. I just wanted to offer 2 different places. So anyone who's interested, does it give me the ability to share screen? I think that will be easier if that's okay. I'm going to share my screen with information for your group and anyone members of the public. So if you are interested, if you want to get involved, if you have input on thoughts for information that you would like to share with our team, you can find more information at our website at County of Monterey's General Plan Updates website. And it's listed here on the slide. Also, you can send emails directly to our general plan updates at co.monterey.ca.us. And then my colleagues, Jamie Scott Guthrie and Edgar Sanchez, are our planners who, for individuals who are more comfortable making a phone call, who are available also to receive information and answer questions in English and in Spanish. So we just invite input and participation from you or others interested in these topics. And I thank you for your time. I will distribute this one slide. I will send that to the contact I have if you'd like to share and distribute with your group. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. All right, I see a hand up from Andrew Rubang from CPUC. We'll go ahead and give you the ability to unmute yourself, Andrew, and share your public comment with us.
Good morning. Do you guys hear me?
We can.
I'm not sure if you can see me. Thank you for having me, board members. I just wanted to let the JPA know that there is a final deadline for one of the California Advanced Service Funds. It's called Public Housing Account. And I know you guys did a great job with the LATA account. So at this point, just make sure that if you guys are planning to, which I hope you guys are going to apply for it, make sure it gets in on time. The deadline is this July. And to remind you of what this account is, it's an account that allows publicly supported housing developments and farm worker housing for all the communities that are trying to close the digital divide. Again, email me. I know I've had connections with a lot of you, and again, you guys are doing great work. So thank you very much, and good luck on your application.
Thank you, Andrew. All right, seeing no other hands up at this time, we're going to close public comment and head into our business for the day. We start with our consent agenda, which only has one item, which is item A, approval of our December 12th minutes. Is there any member who wishes to pull the minutes from December 12th? All right, seeing none, I'll take it out to the public and see if there's any public comment on our consent items. Seeing no hands going up, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for item A under consent.
So
LeBar will
moved.
make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion from LeBar, a second from Antalan. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
I'm sorry, what was that?
A roll call vote on item A under 5A.
Approval of December 12th, 2022 SSBVA draft board meeting minutes. Motion by Mayor Mike LeBar and second by Angela Antalan.
So now we just need the roll call vote.
Okay, remind me of what that is since this is my very
So
first meeting.
Yeah, so just because we're on Zoom, we can't just do a voice call. We actually have to have you go through the list of the members again and just ask
Wonderful.
for our
Thank you
vote
for
on the item.
informing me. Board member Supervisor Chris Lopez, County
Yes.
of Monterey. Board member Council member Angela Antalan, City of Greenfield.
Yes.
Board member Council member Alejandro Chavez, so City of Soledad.
Aye.
Board member Mayor Jose Rios. Vice Chair Mayor Mike LeBar, City of King.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. So with that, we're in our regular agenda items, starting with 6A, legal counsel, presentation of outcomes. So we'll turn that back over to staff.
Thank you so much. I joined my the new colleague, city manager of City of Gonzales, Mr. Trevin Barber, and we selected 2 RFPs out of the 4 RFPs that were submitted. And this is on your agenda packet starting at page 7. And our 2 finalists for legal counsel selection, we're going to refer to their acronym hereafter referred to as BBK, and another legal counsel called RWG. We used the recommended scoring guidelines referred to in the SFP in order to create a scoring metrics for our candidates. And when we conducted interviews, intensive interviews for both candidates, and you can see the results and the metrics from page 7 all the way to page 8. And according to our recommendation, BBK law firm would be the best suited candidate for the SSBVA needs. It is very easy to work with, and at the same time, it scored the highest on all of the elements noted in the SFP according to what they had submitted and according to their interview results. And I'm here if you have any questions regarding the legal counsel procedure. Yes, Mayor
Mayor
Mike.
LeBlanc?
Thank you, Chair. I do have a question. One is, who were the four that applied?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I had actually sent out an email with a live link to all four candidates and the two that were selected. I can definitely repeat that and send that again so you can review their submissions.
Or just tell me the names of the firms.
Yeah, definitely. So let me go back to that and I will pull that for you and share that. Just give me a moment. So I'm going to go through that and read that for you. Let's see. So the two interviewed, I'm not going to mention since they're there. So the third candidate, A&W law firm is Alshire and Winder LLP. That was their submission as well that they submitted on November 11th. And they're located in Fresno, California. Looking at the next candidate. The next candidate is Burke, Williams, and Sorensen LLP, and they're located in Oakland, California.
So have you personally been in contact with the other two firms?
We have not contacted them specifically. We have gone through their RFP submission extensively, and these two specific RFPs did not necessarily meet the criteria that we had listed in our original request.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is one of the firms, which represents King City for transparency, had mentioned they had tried to contact us and they did not have the current contact information. It was from the prior executive director
Mm-hmm.
because they were looking to just see where the process was.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was very concerning to me. And I am looking back also, I've never received an email that had links to the submissions. I would assume that came from you, Doreen?
Yes, that came from me. The person before me, Alexia Garcia, had basically not mentioned anything other than what I just mentioned to you right now. So I was unaware that one of the law firms was trying to contact us.
Okay.
If you
So
would like,
in the future, if we're ever in this process and we have changes over, definitely there should be a method in place to provide anybody on an RFP with the new contact information. But I still haven't,
Mhm.
I never did receive the four submissions. And so
I can share that with you again. And at the same time, since this is the board's decision, we can definitely arrange another interview with that candidate if you would like, if the board agrees to that. We have brought our recommendation after
yes.
the interview, but absolutely, I am open to conduct another interview and definitely utilize their expertise and see how they match our metrics for sure.
So did you personally interviewed all four candidates or just the two that you have in the agenda?
Both Mr. Barber and I went over all four candidates extensively, and we chose the two that I brought forth before you, and we interviewed the two.
Okay.
So not all four were interviewed.
And thank you, Chair, for the time. I am just a little concerned why our city does have a relationship with Alshire and Winder. I would, it is concerning that they didn't get a high enough number because their in-house talent is very, they have specific people for broadband. And I don't know how that didn't factor in.
When they, again, it depends on their submission. That's all we had from them. We were not aware of their current existing relationship with your city. And that's why, as the board, you definitely have the right to let us know if you would like us to interview that candidate as well and bring the results to you.
Okay. With only 4 submissions, I was expecting that all 4 would have been interviewed. And again, it was concerning that when they tried to contact SSB us, they didn't have, the email came back bounced.
And that's
And-
one of the issues that we need to address when hopefully with the existence of a website, there will be an email dedicated to SSVBA so that when we have ongoing staff transitional changes or whatever it is that the staff is going through, then there is one primary email contact that will be dedicated to SSVBA matters.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I know it's all brand new. We're all working through this.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And I thank you for bringing that to our attention. It's definitely the board's decision. I will definitely, I can create another interview session with the candidate.
So Mike,
Thank you, Doreen.
how would you like to proceed? Do you want to just have staff interview the remaining 2 candidates and evaluate, and at that point make a presentation to us on all 4? Would that be a better approach in your opinion?
Yeah, I hate to put off the business at hand, but I do feel that with not having the proper contacts that and us not actually talking to each of the candidates regarding their submissions, I didn't feel proper.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that staff did anything wrong. I mean, they went through them all, they picked their top 2 and then came with the recommendation. I feel that that one firm definitely has, if it wasn't the money issue, if it was the expertise portion, I think that's wrong. I think they have the expertise.
As long as, and at the same time, we have communicated with the board chair, Supervisor Lopez, regarding this.
Okay.
So we have proceeded accordingly. At the same time, I want to make sure there's no conflict of interest for choosing a candidate now that you are mentioning the existing relationship of the candidate with King City. But again, that is the decision of the board, and I'm happy to proceed with another interview for sure.
I will go with the will of the board chair.
So I'm good with us going back and
Mhm.
interviewing the remaining 2 candidates and then bringing that back in a special to get that determined. Just out of fairness, the only concern for me was if they tried to reach out and couldn't contact us, and we can have a conversation about perhaps, some concerns they had or clarification they needed. I want to make sure that we give them a fair shot. And so I'm okay with going back and giving that same opportunity for a conversation with the remaining 2 candidates and then bringing back a proposal at that point. I see Member Chavez has his hand up.
Yeah, I'm okay with going back to the process if we use all 4, if we do interview all 4, if we're going to go back, not just interview 1, just because of that perceived conflict.
Mhm.
Agree.
Definitely, and in order to not cause any conflict of interest, then both the 2 that are remaining, they need to be interviewed. So definitely that's going to be done. And we definitely need to figure out a way that if someone is contacting the SSVBA, it's not necessarily one individual from the staff, but a primary email address.
Right. So at this point, I'm going to see if there's any additional concerns from the body. Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to go out to the public with this item. Seeing no hands going up, what I'll do is bring it back and we'll consider direction given. There's no need for formal action. So We'll look forward to that coming back. In terms of timing, I do know it's important that we get that done. So I'm hoping everybody's okay with us scheduling a special, even if it's only to address that one issue rather than waiting. And so Doreen, as soon as you guys have that figured out, if you could work with our office to schedule a special for everybody and we can get that taken care of. Thank you.
Sounds good. Will do.
All right, so with item 6A covered, let's go to 6B, the bank account issue with Trevin Barber. Can we bring over Trevin from the attendee side?
Good morning, board. Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure to assist in setting up the administration for the Broadband Authority. There's one topic that's been left outstanding, and that's the establishment of a bank account for the Broadband Authority. The city of Gonzales is happy to participate and facilitate that process. We only simply need a banking resolution to provide to our local bank so that we can enlist the selected treasurer and president to be able to conduct business with the bank. So that's the only one item I wanted to bring to your attention, and hopefully the board would be interested in directing staff to prepare the necessary resolution for the next scheduled board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Trevin. We'll go ahead and ask if there's any concerns with giving that direction to staff. All right, hearing none, we'll take it out to the public. Seeing no concerns, we'll bring it back and go ahead and consider that direction given to staff to come back with a resolution to formally establish the account with the necessary information is determined by the city of Gonzales and their finance manager to get that account established so we can start paying our bills. But thank you, Trevin, for bringing that to us, and welcome aboard. All right, so now we're at item 7, our executive director's report, and we'll go ahead and kick that back to Doreen.
Thank you so much. I just included a section for the board's consideration in terms of updates on current grants that have been basically in process, future grants. That is on page 9 to 13. However, we do have updated information on some of them literally as of yesterday. So I do have a more extensive and revised copy of that as of last night that I can share with some of you, or keep it and file it under archives for SSBVA for your attention. I wanted just all of you to be aware of what is happening regionally. So we can briefly go over the grants that are in process. As you are aware, the CCBC, mainly our region, was awarded $1 million from the CASP phase 4, and that is divided into 5 years, of course, for the counties, and that will accomplish a lot in terms of middle mile and last mile infrastructure and deployment in our region. And that's one of the updates. As of a day ago, we did receive a communication about, and this is on page 12, that the SURF phase also has basically closed the contract that's ready to go for the funds to be distributed. So we're excited about that, to get to work. An update on the Golden State Finance Authority GSFA grant that we had submitted on December 28th, 2022. Unfortunately, we were not selected, and that was specifically for providing a strategic plan for Monterey County and San Benito County, and we were not selected for that grant. So that is the latest resolution. We still have not heard the actual official announcement for that. I have listed some upcoming grants for you. And again, as of yesterday, I do have some updates on those. that could benefit both counties or all three counties that we are servicing. One of them is the CPUC Equity Initiatives and Clean Energy Access that is going to actually get divided into three categories. One of them is dedicated to mainly helping staff members, helping CBOs pay their staff members for attending meetings, for attending workshops. So that's going to be a very simple process for the application, as noted yesterday by the CPUC representatives, and two other categories as well, one for technical support and the other one for clean energy. So we can go over those later. This is the latest information we have as of yesterday that the webinar happened. And the next upcoming, as my colleague Andrew mentioned, also is we do have a deadline in July that we will look into to apply to. And the next grant is actually the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, the BEAD basically funding. We did have one webinar that was preliminary information, and since July we had no updates, but the latest update was on February 9th, and that's going to be coming up soon as well. So that's all I have to share for the grants, and I will update the document with a little bit more information.
Any questions on 7A? Okay, then let's go out to the public, see if there's any input on 7A. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and proceed to 7B.
And that is my colleague, Barbara Hayes, that we do have some new members and new attendees at SSBVA. And she's graciously going to give us a little bit more information and an overview of LATA funds and the latest with that account. Thank you.
Thanks, Doreen. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, board. Thank you, Chair Lopez. As Doreen mentioned, I'm Barbara Hayes. I'm the Chief Economic Development Officer at RCRC, which is Rural County Representatives of California. And if you'll indulge me for just a few minutes, I'm going to share a few slides with you. Go. Oops. Better? There we go. So as I mentioned, I'm with RCRC, and as I talk about broadband, I just want to kind of set the stage and explain how we are implementing our broadband program of work, because you're going to interchangeably hear RCRC represented as well as Golden State Connect. So Golden State Connect is an affiliate agency of RCRC, and both RCRC and Golden State Connect are governed by a board comprised of elected supervisors from each of our member counties. In the case of Golden State Connect Authority, we have 39 member counties. That number will jump to 40, probably most likely on February 28th, when Kings County, who just joined as an RCRC member, joins Golden State Connect Authority. So bringing our membership to 40. The board of elected county supervisors approved a program of work when Golden State Connect was formed back in December of 2021 that focused in the three areas you see there on the bottom right of the slide: broadband strategic planning, capacity building, and then open access middle mile deployment. So just to give you a quick update on where we are on those three areas of work, Doreen mentioned that there was a RFP that was released by our other affiliate agency, Golden State Finance Authority. And really, to kind of confuse you even further, the reason the RFP was released under Golden State Finance was because Golden State Connect had not yet been created. So we applied for a grant through the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration for purposes of developing individual countywide broadband strategic plans for, as you see there, 27 member counties, Monterey being one of those that opted into that grant. We received notification 1 week short of a year after submitting the grant request that we had received the grant. And as of Monday of this week, we did formally offer and an acceptance has been made for the entity that will be developing the broadband strategic plan for the individual counties of Monterey, San Benito, and San Luis Obispo. They're going to do that cluster of counties, that regional cluster, and the company is Teleworks, which is one that has done work in this area of California before and is familiar with the players in that region. I will say, as part of the selection process, we received 8 proposals overall. They were good proposals. We had staff members review the proposals, as well as representatives from each of the counties that opted into the grant. So everybody's score went into consideration as we went through the review process. Under item number 2, capacity building, you see there, I'll jump down. We created a website that I would encourage you, when you have a moment, to go and check. There are a number of resources there that may be of importance for you to know about. But this is where the local agency technical assistance, or LADA, grant work occurred. And for those of you that I've been before you before, you all know that each of the 4 cities in the county of Monterey, all the members of the SSBVA, did apply for and have received their grant award under LADA for purposes of network design. That work has begun and is underway, and I'll touch on that more in just a moment. The last of our work program there is what everything kind of leads to, which is deployment of an open access, public benefit, last mile municipal broadband network. And I'll just say very quickly that when you're talking open access for broadband networks, think about airports. It's kind of the same idea. So local governments finance, construct, own, operate, maintain airports by and large. Airlines are invited to utilize that infrastructure, and for that they pay a fee. And then we, as the traveling public, also pay a fee when we utilize that airport. Same principle applies to an open access last mile network. Golden State Connect, in this case, would finance, construct, own, operate, maintain. We would invite providers onto that infrastructure. They would pay a fee to do so, to access and get customers, and then the customer also pays a fee. It's a model that's prevalently used outside of California, and one that has been widely adopted here in California at both the middle mile and last mile legs. And with that, I want to just kind of set the stage for how all of this broadband money and infrastructure development was initialized here in California. And it actually started with an enormous bang in July of 2021, when the governor signed SB 156. It was unanimously approved by both houses of the state legislature. And not only was it historic there, as you see, with the $6 billion investment into the creation of those 4 programs, but it was huge and really landmark in a number of non-monetary ways as well, not the least of which, and one of our favorites here, is local governments are now permitted to own, operate, and maintain broadband networks under SB 156. So prior to July of 2021, counties were not named in statute as being able to do so. What this means, and what we've been running really hard ever since the signing, is to get our member counties and the cities therein, as evidenced by your involvement in LADA and exposure to the work that Golden State Connect is doing, is our goal is to get our local government leaders up the learning curve as quickly as possible about all things broadband. Because really, before July of 2021, in large part, it's safe to say that broadband was really left to private companies in the state of California to address and provide services. And unfortunately, for rural areas of California in particular, we just don't fit their business model. So we want to get our local members, our local governmental leaders up that learning curve as quickly as possible, so that as they now have a seat at the table, they're speaking from an informed, educated, and insightful point of view. You saw that one of the programs that SB 156 created was the Local Agency Technical Assistance Fund. And this slide is one that I used with our board a year ago in anticipation of the program opening. So it's got some key program components there. You all are very familiar with this program. As I mentioned earlier, you all successfully applied and received an award under this program and are working with Golden State Connect Authority to develop network designs for each of your jurisdictions, each of the 4 cities and the unincorporated area in the South Salinas Valley surrounding those cities. The work under LADA has been broken down into a 3-step process, as you see here on the screen. I would say for each of the 4 cities and counties at this point, you all are in the first cohort of work moving through the design process. So you are in the conceptual network design and cost estimation bucket there, as you see. You're more toward the head of the arrow than the end of the arrow in terms of moving through this step of work. So as you can see there, what's done, it really is the desk level work and gathering all of the addresses and ensuring that we have all of the addresses in the project area identified. And for that, I just want to do a very quick thank you to your teams within your cities and within Monterey County for providing GIS information and address information. It's invaluable as we move through this process. And as we complete each of these 3-step processes, I will come back again with the consultants who are doing the network design under LADA on each of your individual behalfs. And we will sit with you and your leadership within your individual jurisdictions and review the work that has been done in each phase before we move to the next phase. So look for those meetings to be scheduled here in the next couple of weeks. Very quickly, this is just kind of an overview slide of where we are. We've touched on some things, but I wanted to leave this slide in because I know we have a leadership change in Soledad, and I'm still awaiting. I'm going to poke at you a little bit, Soledad. I'm still awaiting receipt of the MOU with Golden State Connect Authority. We've gone ahead and started the work because this is one of our primary regions that we as an organization are looking at getting designed and getting everything in place so that we can position this area to access the next pot of money that will become available through the CPUC under SB 156, which is the federal fund account / last mile, also known as the FFA last mile. It's not government if we don't have acronyms, right? So anyway, I wanted to just put that little reminder to Soledad, and I'm happy to follow up afterward as well.
Thank you, Barbara, for that. I'll make sure I follow up with our interim.
Thank you so much. And then the next steps, Doreen, I just on the top of the column there, confirm amendment finalized. I will circle back with you just to ensure that we've received all of the executed amendments for the original MOU. A little bit of housekeeping, forgive me, everyone. Okay. This slide I created for a presentation I did on Friday and really attempted, despite what this looks like, to simplify the funding sources that are coming. And you heard Doreen mention a few of these, but I just wanted to kind of put it all in perspective for you. And I'll lead with the headline, which is, you are right where you need to be. You haven't missed anything. You're not behind on anything. You are in good hands with Doreen and the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership and certainly with Golden State Connect. So again, I'll just run through these very quickly if you don't mind. Local agency technical assistance check mark. You are in and all good. The next program that's going to open, and it was anticipated to open in April, we shall see, is the FFA Last Mile. This is the federal fund account Last Mile. Again, $2 billion you saw on an earlier slide allocated into this program under SB 156. The eligible applicants for these dollars will be providers and network administrators. These dollars are for broadband infrastructure deployment. So you see there that in CPUC speak, guidelines were approved. Those are program rules. So those guidelines were approved early last year. You can see them if you're so interested on the CPUC website. They have a wonderful website broken down by program. In order to open the program up for application, there is a map that the CPUC has released of priority areas. The map will inform those areas that are eligible to apply for FFA Last Mile funding. And I will say there may be some changes to those maps before the application window for FFA Last Mile opens. And I say may because it's a state of flux. The CPUC is working on a few things right now relative to the maps. The other program, or the next one there that you see, is the Loan Loss Reserve Program. Eligible applicants are local governments and nonprofits. These dollars are specifically to be used to securitize funding for broadband deployment. So think about when you issue a bond, you may use these dollars. Local governments and nonprofits may apply for these dollars to securitize bond issuances, or to securitize loans or any other funding mechanism that they may employ. The CPUC proceeding on this item is open, meaning that staff is working on developing those guidelines for commission review and approval. That's what rulemaking, again, CPUC speak, rulemaking is underway in that process. The program guidelines or rules have not yet been established. And I would say we probably have a few more months before they are. Doreen mentioned the NTIA program. This is the National Telecommunication Infrastructure Agency within the U.S. Department of Commerce. Under the Infrastructure and Investment Jobs Act, IIJA, $65 billion was allocated to NTIA for implementation across a number of programs, digital equity and broadband being one, and the largest pot of funds within NTIA. Again, before I leave this slide and jump to the next, I just want to say we are, for NTIA, there is, again, you are right where you need to be. There is no money available right now. And in fact, these dollars will be allocated and apportioned out to states pending receipt of statewide plans on both digital equity and broadband deployment. So the state of California right now has just begun the planning process, the plan development process that will culminate in the state submitting a plan to NTIA in October of current year of 2023. NTIA will then review those plans, as you see there on the calendar later this year, and then probably anticipated early 2024, they will provide the state of California with their apportionment of funds under the NTIA program. So right now we're in the planning phase. Nothing needs to be done. Again, nothing is being missed. And in fact, you all can expect to be contacted to be included in that planning phase. The last box there that you see on the bottom of the page is the American Rescue Plan Capital Projects program. This was created under Rescue Plan Capital Projects dollars, and the state of California will receive approximately $540 million under this program. That program is being implemented at the federal level within the Treasury Department. Those dollars have not yet been submitted to California. California has to submit a plan and have it approved. And as with NTIA, there's a good bet, it's a strong bet, that those dollars, both under capital projects and under BEAD, will fall, when they hit California, will fall into existing programs. They'll likely fall into the middle mile program, the FFA last mile, and maybe some more local agency technical assistance money. But we will know more towards the end of this calendar year, early next. This slide, I just wanted to share with you because it's a great overview of what the state has done. So the Broadband Council started in as far back as 2010, but really kicked into high gear in 2020 when COVID hit and the digital divide was really clearly illuminated as far as the impact on those that did not have access to strong, robust broadband and or devices, quite honestly. Resulted in development by the Broadband Council of a broadband action plan. And then that was followed the next year by SB 156, which we touched on earlier. Under SB 156, there are last mile programs, and the state, of course, is stepping into an open access middle mile space where they are going to deploy under SB 156 open access, that airport model, if you will, that I mentioned in middle mile. So think of middle mile as the freeways, and last mile is when you get off at the off ramp and go to the neighborhoods. It's a good delineator of middle mile versus last mile. And then here, as I mentioned earlier, is the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act broadband program. 65 billion was allocated across these programs, with 42.5 dropping into broadband equity access and deployment programs. I'm sorry, 45 billion dropping into broadband equity access and deployment. You'll hear the again, acronym BEAD. That's what this refers to. And why your involvement in the planning process is important is because of this key slide. Under the rules associated with the BEAD program, each state, as I mentioned, must complete a broadband plan, both on the digital equity side and the broadband deployment side, and they must, it is required in statute, include input from all 8 of these groups that you see on your screen in their plan. So as you can see, and well imagine because of who I work for, this one's most important to me, but within your communities, all of these groups are probably represented in one way or another. So this is my last slide, everyone. So home stretch here. So you can see here by the arrows, broadband, this is the BEAD program, and the 45 billion is broken down into these 2 pots, digital equity and what is just called BEAD. This is for infrastructure deployment, the 42.5. Now these totals will be, as I mentioned, distributed across the US to each state. Here in California, the digital equity plan is being led by the California Department of Technology. The infrastructure deployment planning process is being led by the CPUC. CDT, the Department of Technology, has broken their planning process into these 5 processes that are going to fall under their plan development. So there has been appointed, and I believe they had their first meeting on January 25th, the statewide planning group. So representatives on the statewide planning group, I believe, include an elected representative. Am I correct, Supervisor Lopez, from your area?
That's the middle mile? Or no?
No, I'm sorry, I'm misspeaking. No, you're right, you do have middle mile. I apologize. So the statewide planning group is represented by agency secretaries and department directors across the state of California. There are, in addition, 2 outside agencies, if you will, that are represented on that entity as well. And Rural County Representatives of California is one of those. My colleague Tracy Ryan on our government affairs side of the house is our representative. Similarly, as you go down another area that they will be gathering information to develop their plan, this is on the digital equity side of the house, is the creation of these 6 outcome area working groups. And RCRC has appointed staff people that will be serving on each of these groups. But I will say these meetings, these outcome area working groups are what I say in my family, they're all plays. Everybody is invited and encouraged to participate in these groups. And I would say that you could go on to the California Department of Technology webpage, and there you can register and sign up for the meeting notifications for each of these outcome area working groups. There will similarly be surveys. There'll be local and regional outreach down in the months to come. And their goal is statewide public engagement. So again, it's required. They have to hit those 8 groups, but they are really making a concerted effort to do so. The CPUC will have a similar process. It just, they're approaching it a little less structured at this point as far as publicly sharing their structure, but no doubt there will be a similar structure around it. This last slide I just pop up and I am going to forward this slide deck to Doreen so that she can share it out with all of you. And that last one was more just for education and information, so we can all be speaking the right speak.
Thank you, Barbara. And I will share, it was briefly mentioned there, but recently Supervisor Alejo was appointed to that middle mile body, which is helping make those decisions. So hoping we get a little priority there as well as we move forward, knowing we've got some middle mile that needs to be finished off. Any questions for Barbara? Mike.
Really just a comment. Great presentation, Barbara. Appreciate that, and sending the slide deck out. On the LEDA grants, I didn't realize there was only 50 million available. So our little area pulled 5% of those funds. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Great to hear about Supervisor Alejo on the middle mile portion of it. And I just want to express my thanks to RCRC. I am very excited for our future. And I would imagine if there's points where we need to provide input on any of the maps, we'll be notified so that our concerns are definitely registered. And my question is, so you had the 8 criteria that was important that have to be met by statute, and rural communities was one of those. So the way I read that is we are definitely in the run for everything because we're hitting every one of those 8 statute requirements, correct?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. And the comment, I mean, over the next months, there will no doubt be, I would imagine, a listening session down in your area of the state where you'll have the opportunity in person to provide input and walk through a facilitated process, a listening session as they're called, to provide direct input, but also through those, the outcome area working groups. And those meetings are virtual, the ones that I'm kind of pointed you in the direction of the Department of Technology website to sign up if you'd like to participate. Those are virtual. They last about, the first ones are happening this week. They last about an hour and a half. I think it's good just to listen if you can have it on in the background. If you can't just, don't have the time to participate fully, just listen is good.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Of course. So I'm going to briefly share. I do have to jump for a 10 o'clock. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Mike, if that's okay. But I did want to share there was a piece in there about USDA Reconnect, and I was able to be in DC last week with the RCRC team with USDA and the rural development portion of their office, and had some great conversations that I think are going to bear a lot of fruit for our region, as they were talking about some of the opportunities and pockets and abilities to put it simply, draw your own community and determine what area you're trying to address. I think there's going to be some opportunities for our body to leverage as we move forward, specifically in communities like Gonzales who are unserved. So just wanted to share that and put that out there. And but with that, Mike, I'm going to have to turn over the virtual gavel to you. But thank you all for the meeting this morning, and we'll meet soon. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye-bye.
We'll now move on to item, any other questions from any of the board members? All right, we'll move on to item 7C. Thank you again, Barbara.
Thank you
7C
so
is the
much.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Doreen.
Thank you so much. We're going to talk about the website, but just before that, I had a comment regarding the CPUC and FFC maps. There is a reason that there's so much conversation about them. The latest action we have taken is that we have communicated with our colleague Andrew Rubank as our liaison from the CPUC, and we have crafted a letter on behalf of CCBC and our entire region, stating specifically the discrepancies in the maps and requesting revision of the maps. We stated the current state of the CPUC maps, the latest that were released, and the FCC, and the discrepancies between the two. So that's the latest action that has been taken from us, and hopefully it's going to make a difference. I just wanted to update all of you on that matter. Transitioning into the website, it is underway. I am still waiting for information that I requested from the board members. I only have information from Mayor Mike Labar and Supervisor Lopez, and I will be contacting Angela, Council Member Angela, for her information as well, since she's the newest member. Expect an email from me, please. But for those of you who have received my email, that's what I'm waiting for, to be able to move the presentation of the website, hopefully, to our next meeting. And with that said, I am done with item number C. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doreen. And please keep us updated on the revision of those maps. And I will say, it is very refreshing to have an actual point of contact with the CPUC. So Andrew, I know, has contacted our cities, and that is very encouraging, because for us to be able to get our voice across, that personal relationship and that one person we're talking to is so important. So thank you for the work you're doing, Doreen and Barbara.
Definitely. And actually, I utilized the help and expertise of Andrew, our liaison, in our meetings with the CCBC, and he has been tremendously helpful in guiding us towards where our action and our voice would be most heard. So I really appreciate that, and appreciate the collaboration.
Awesome. We'll move on to item 8, Board of Directors reports. Any Board of Directors have any reports? Seeing none. Item 9 is future agenda items. We do have the 9A listed. Is there any other items?
No.
Any board members would like to have any other items for future agenda? Seeing none, we'll now adjourn this meeting at 10:02 a.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doreen. Have a nice day.